Well, hey there, everybody. Let's talk some hog hoops, shall we, with our Kevin McPherson. Kevin, always great to see you. And of course, it is a big week for Arkansas with the season starting right around the corner, the red-white game starting in a few days. So let's start there about this red-white game that's happening in Bud Walton on Thursday.
Yeah, Arkansas is not going to have an exhibition season because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The NCAA said no exhibition games. So the red white game, is really thought of as a glorified practice. It's an intra squad game. They go head to head every day in practice, but there is a more game like setting. There'll be officials, you'll have some fans, students anyway allowed in. ESPN Plus is going to do a live stream, which I think is really cool. So there'll be more of a game atmosphere, and maybe guys tend to that practice well. We see who carries over practice to game-like settings. Some guys step up and maybe do a little better when the lights are on than they do in practice. So it does offer the coaches some extra set of evaluation parameters considering the seasons now. When you look at November 25, I mean, that's roughly just a little over 2 weeks before the actual start of the season. So Arkansas is going to host Mississippi Valley State. We'll talk a little bit more about the schedule. But I think, the red-white game being really the only true dress rehearsal, it's a little bit limiting when you've got 10 new players on scholarship that have never worn a Hog uniform, never played in the SEC. But at the same time, it's better than nothing. So I know the players are excited about it. I'm sure the coaching staff hopes they can get something meaningful from it. But for fans, they get their first real glimpse. If they get online and watch it, they get to see the red-white game. Typically, those aren't televised, so you're limited, to people that are able to attend. So for the fans, this is extra.
I love it. All right. Well, you mentioned it, the 2021 schedule coming out last week. We got the non-conference schedule on Thursday. We got the SEC schedule on Friday. So when you see that whole entire body of work that Arkansas is about to get set to play in, exactly what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, college programs around the country had to scramble and revise things based, again, on the parameters and restrictions because of COVID. So you're looking at reducing games. They went from 31 to 27. So that was really felt in the non-conference. 9 games, though. Arkansas was able to maximize what it could. 9 non-conference games as opposed to the typical 13. But they did work in 2 road games. You've got the Big 12 SEC Challenge in January after league play starts. Arkansas will play at Oklahoma State. They were able to keep that road game against Tulsa. That's close to Fayetteville. It makes sense. You can really cut down on the traveling requirements. Lodging, you don't need that, so it's a little safer. And then Arkansas's home schedule, it's really mid-major schools, but I think the headliner, obviously, they're going to play an in-state school, Central Arkansas, for the first time in 70 years that they'll play a regular season game against an in-state school. Arkansas 6-0 all-time against the Bears. So that's something for fans to look forward to on December 12th. And then when we get out of kind of moving back into the SEC, it's an 18-game schedule, just like it always is. You've always got LSU, Missouri, and Texas A&M as part of that home and away 2-game series during the season. Auburn and Alabama rotate in this year for the home and away. I think that's interesting because I think both of those teams are talented. Good measuring sticks for Arkansas. Of course, you always keep an eye on that Kentucky game. Arkansas plays at Rupp Arena this season, so it's a road game. Arkansas hasn't beaten Kentucky since the 2013-14 season when it swept 2 regular season games, both going to overtime. Everybody remembers Michael Quall's putback dunk to knock the Cats down in Fayetteville. But I think really when you look at the schedule, all things considered, with the struggles with the pandemic, I think Arkansas's SEC schedule is obviously always tough. A lot of opportunities there to build an NCAA tournament resume. But I think the non-conference with at least 2 road games gives Arkansas some measuring stick. Tulsa won the American Athletic Conference, a really good conference last year. That won't be an easy road game, but I think Arkansas' schedule, all things considered, is decent.
Yeah. All right. Well, we talked about what's coming up on Thursday, but it's another big day on Wednesday, and that's when that 2021 signing period for the early period opens up, a week-long signing period, and there are 2 guys for this Arkansas's signing class that are expected to sign during that time.
Both are signing on the first day, Alyssa. That's November 11th. That's Wednesday, so they're getting it out of the way. Chance Moore, 6'5" wing out of McPherson School in Georgia. ESPN ranks him the number 44 prospect in the country, a high-level 4-star. He's going to get his knocked out early in the morning, Wednesday morning. So he gets his signing done. That's another big prize for Eric Musselman. You look back at the 2020 class, several guys ranked in that top 100. Chances that next guy for 2021, the first one. And then you look at a Cole Maywin. 6'9" combo forward. Spent his last 2 seasons in high school basketball playing in Southwest Christian Academy here in Little Rock, but he's at Navarro College at JUCO in Texas, a sophomore. He's rated the #3 junior college prospect in the country by 247 Sports. And he's also told me today that he is going to sign on Wednesday, the first day of the signing period. So, if you really look at this recruiting class, so far, so good, because you've got 2 high-level guys on board. Eric Musselman, we know he likes to look at that portal and go through it. More of that stuff starts picking up in the spring. And, of course, at that point, he's looking at transfers. But one transfer that also recently signed with Arkansas, we'll just mention it again, and that's the young man at Little Rock here in state that played with Darrell Walker, Kamani Johnson. We interviewed him not that long ago, but he went ahead and got his paperwork done recently as well, and he'll join the Hogs midterm. Now, he's going to sit out the remainder of the 2021 season when he gets here in December. That's just next month, looking to pick up as a junior the following season in 21-22.
All right, lastly, I want to talk to you, of course, about some guys that you were able to see recently practicing in action. Creed Williamson, that I know a lot of Hog fans know that last name, of course, the son of Corliss Williamson, and then Layden Blocker. What'd you like from both of them?
Wow, big game yesterday. These guys on Saturday, these guys were able to go at it, and it's a benefit game. But they played Watson Chapel, got off to a slow start, but Little Rock Christian ended up kind of battling and clawing back and forth game. Won the game in double overtime. But you look at Creed Williamson, class of 2022, 6'8" forward. He had 23 points. He made 9 of 12 field goals. He struggled a little bit at the free throw line, 5 of 12, but he pulled down 12 rebounds, had 3 steals and a couple of blocks. His physicality, his athleticism, and his motor all were big keys into helping his team come back. He was really dominant around the basket, really kind of a blueprint that his dad put out there when he was 2-time SEC Player of the Year and led Arkansas to a national championship back in the mid-'90s. A lot of similarities there. Creed's a little taller, I think a little bit more athletic, and could shoot a little bit better, but he didn't have to on Saturday. He really did the work inside and around the basket. And then Layden Blocker kind of got off to a slow start and played a little bit off the ball. But he, some people think of him as a combo guard. I think of him as a better fit at the point guard. And when he got on the ball, he really started come to the forefront and help his team get to a victory. 28 points, not shooting the ball very well, but he had a really good end of the game. Ended up with 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals. So really stuffed the stat sheet. Both of these guys, Layden Blocker, class of 2023, both of them picked up their Arkansas offers just last month. I mean, not that long ago. And both look like they're on a trajectory for no doubt high major, a high major finish when they get from high school to college.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. It's an exciting time for you, Kevin. We're talking basketball, of course. We've talked recruiting a long time, but the season just around the corner. So thanks so much for the time, and we'll catch up with you next week.